World Development System. Chapter 211. Johnson smiled as he remembered about the scandal where he was forced to leave Radiant Church publicly and asked, "I heard, the mercenaries you hired are all dead. You must have faced quite a big loss time around." Francis smiled as he shook his head and answered, "Well, it's good either way since we got some valuable information after the previous battle of Count John and mercenaries, while I won't have to pay them for other services as all of them are dead while the royal family is intervening personally." Meanwhile, Hell's mercenaries were able to escape the ordeal that other mercenaries faced since they were at Greedos after the incident of Greenwood's village, so overall it was a good investment. However, that new general is bad news for us. Most of the cardinals too agree with this notion. Our top priority this time is to kill that general since he will be our enemy no matter what, whether he is in Count John's camp or the king's camp. This time your main job is to kill that general and try to get your hands on ballistas and the printing tech. The latter two alone would suffice to dominate this continent and spread our ideology at a faster pace. The devils are already in contact with dwarves, so we need to be careful. It is only the range of violent beasts at the north that is protecting us from those devils. Johnson nodded and spoke, "Okay. We would anyway be attacking them in 4 days since we have a change in plans after we got new information about the range of those new ballistas. This time Erwin would start the invasion. It seems Lionheart has some surprises ready for us. As far as the devils are concerned, we shouldn't worry about them as most of the devil tribes are divided." The next day, John laughed as he read the official letter of Ambassador Luke. "Luke, what do you think? I would agree with your proposal or not? Do you really think that I would give up my general while you guys are eyeing me like tigers who can't wait to eat me? Or do you think that I am a fool and would cause mutiny in my army?" John smiled and continued with a tone of mockery, "You yourself should know why the situation has boiled up to this point. You guys supported mercenaries indirectly and hence even your normal soldiers felt burnt of it. As far as sanctions are concerned, I don't really care now. Worst comes to worst, we will hunt the beasts from the forest and wait for the next harvest." Luke thought that John was simply bluffing. He smiled and asked, "What if we lift all the sanctions up? What we want is cooperation with mutual interests. And don't try to hide your problems. We know that the beasts have already started their invasion in the northeast and you guys are occupied with them. Do you think you can really face war on all sides? Even the Blucia demons are occupied with themselves and Prince Chad, who is giving them a hard time. Don't think anyone would support you. Mind you, the royal family is very serious about this negotiation." John smiled as he knew how smoothly Luke would lie and answered, "Humph, and you expect me to trust you after what happened before when I handed over the blueprints? And what is with the troop build-up at the south? I am sure you guys are only waiting if the beasts have invaded or not for your start of the invasion. I guess the Lore family too faced the same situation when they created those short swords and started arming their magic knights. However, since I am weak, the royal family thinks I am a pushover. Remember this, your actions will have far-reaching effects. It's good that I hid my best ballista from your side. This was just a warning to everyone in the kingdom. The next battle will also have the same results as those mercenaries. The invaders won't be granted any mercy. I have nothing to talk about, you can take your leave. About the northeast, yes, the beasts have started invading us and we are dealing with them appropriately." After hearing John, Luke thought deeply, looking at his carefree expression. It seems he actually wants a war with the royal family. Is he bluffing, or does he have a plan which can nullify our magic metal ballistas, or if worse comes to worst, we will use the dragon knights who can easily crush them? Nah, I guess he doesn't even know about their existence and is currently relying on his superior ballistas? I guess we should try to squeeze him via food since he is quite desperate when it comes to food. Maybe we should increase the immigration there. Let's see how much he can take. Anyway, this meeting is futile to recruit that general and getting any new info on those new ballistas." Luke nodded and answered as he had clear instruction from the top, "I hope you won't regret your decision, Lord Count. I will give you a piece of advice, sometimes even the kings have to bow down and make concessions, let alone lords like us. I hope you remember this. Luke left as he thought about the deal with Radiant Church which happened about a century ago. Luke left as he concluded the meeting with John. Before he left, he saw that John was smiling, which immediately rang his radars and bells. Luke thought with serious eyes, what is he currently planning that he is so confident even after facing enemies from all the sides? Maybe he gave me some wrong information, or have they found a magic metal mine in North? Yes, that may be the case, and hence he is trying to fight it out. He is certainly hiding something in North, or else he wouldn't be this confident. John was smiling as Taylor came and reported, "Lord, the road joining NF City and Winter City are complete, however, it is not safe as exotic beasts still try to approach it. We are making another road and are trying to expand to the north so that we can have enough land. Currently, Ross is waiting for your orders. Meanwhile, Tornwall is waiting for the first uses of steam engines. While Jay is currently expanding the lands." Taylor thought as he had given Jay certain instructions, "I guess we need land at least comparable to a small kingdom. The royal family has already pushed us into a corner. The only thing we need to do is wait for their attack. The day they attack us will be the day we rebel." John nodded and answered, Okay, I will be traveling to Winter City personally. I want to see the situation there firsthand. Arlen, Marsh, and Amber will be handling the borders currently. I have already given him orders. As for steam engines, start using the steam engines at Aurora Island and Winter City, as there won't be any ice. They can be used in drilling for mines, transport of heavy materials, and our steamboats and ships. They will also be useful in mills and looms. This will certainly industrialize our whole domain. I will personally give him some ideas. Meanwhile, you guys can openly use the water-powered plants near the rivers to produce energy in forges and other places, as it was at a stop for some time previously. John continued and asked, "Is there any news from Blake?" Taylor nodded as he gave a report. "Yes, currently the fjords are slowly approaching the Aurora Island by using their own ballistas. However, they are drowned as they get near every day. It seems they are searching for our ships in the seas. Currently, Blake and his team have sunk every single ship of theirs. However, they will soon approach us and find out about Winter City or Aurora Island. Previously they almost encountered dwarves if not for the sea beast raid. Meanwhile, Grand Pody One or Melanie wanted to meet you." John nodded as he thought deeply, Okay. I will meet her later on. I will visit Winter City and meet Ross personally first. Meanwhile, bring in that guy Bruce. He wrote an interesting article previously at Rose Institute. I want to meet that guy personally." Taylor nodded as he remembered about the guy who was curious about the medical industry in North Frontier Domain. "Okay, m'lord." King Ludwin was reading a report that he got from his men. So Tornwall is well and alive. It seems he escaped his fate as a slave. What other news do you have? The spy had reported after getting Ludwin's approval. Bigger things are boiling in Elias currently, just like when the royal family annexed the Lore family for their short swords. Currently, they are trying to overpower Count John of the North Frontier Domain. I think this may be our chance to realize our goals and expand at Elias, which we couldn't materialize during the Lore family incident. I suggest we align with that Count. His weapons are quite something. Recently we lost 2 battles at Western Seas against the royal family because of those new ballistas. Our shots may have a good chance against them, but they are not yet ready to be revealed. Take a look at these reports to get a better idea on Count John's domain from our spies." Ludwin nodded as he saw the report in full, but there is a problem, and that is Tornwall, as he was related to him. There is one guy though who seems more interesting to me. It's the General Anak. Try getting him on our side. This guy seems like a big asset. I would like him to commander my shot units since he was good enough to commander the ballistas. Try recruiting him if possible. Otherwise, try supporting Fjord from the sidelines. I am sure the royal family is eyeing their ships, so he can be very useful to us. However, he is quite a cautious guy. Those ships will be the biggest hindrance to us, so I want him on our side. This is also one of the reasons why I prefer to support Fjord instead of that upstart Count. The spy had looked at a report and remarked, about that, it would be very difficult, Your Majesty. That general's whereabouts are mostly unknown and reports claim that he was previously in Ghost's division. He is most likely scouted by Count John or his master Vlad themselves. As far as his information is concerned, most of it is classified over there. I will try getting Greg to report on him and other things needed. Ludwin nodded as he smiled and thought about Tornwall. Good, make it as fast as possible. Ludwin thought, it was good that all the guys were kidnapped during that coup, or else I would have been exposed. Chapter 212. During these 4 days. Mist thought as he looked at John and noticed his heavy killing intent, which was leaked unintentionally. It seems he is the general likely. What do you think, Allison? Allison was focusing on his next chess move as he spoke. I knew about that already when he came back. From the looks of it, he doesn't intend to reveal himself early on as his domain is vulnerable. I am just wondering how long this war would continue. Well, it's good either way, as I can enjoy as much wine as I want. Yes, that's the move I was looking for. Allison focused on chess as he made his next move and drank his cup of wine. Mist thought as he heard Allison, it seems something big is brewing from the way these guys have reacted. I better start paying attention to the politics over here. That previous battle has already shocked enough people in Elias, I think. John got a report from Ross which said that recently they had found another magic metal mine at the north. Hearing this, he immediately left for Winter City. After transporting the cannons at Winter City and making a thorough inspection, John immediately ordered Ross, from now on keep expanding to the west. There is no need to fear the beasts. The magic metal mines themselves are quite valuable at the north. Tornwall is quite interested in them as Dwarven Kingdom was lacking in it and he never had a free hand in experimenting with it. Try expanding towards Fire Abyss Kingdom's volcanic hills. Meanwhile, we will be slowly starting our base of operations over here. Where is Tim, currently? Ross nodded. Milord, he is at Aurora currently. He is currently studying the ships and preparing for the usage of steam engines in the ships that were provided by you. He has already started using the water boosters and steam engines for the ships, while the cannons will be installed as they arrive. All the plans are on schedule. Tornwall has headed for Aurora so that he can start cannon and steam engine factories. I think you can meet him at Aurora if you want. John nodded and gave final orders. Okay, since all the checks have been done, I will be returning back. No need to meet Tornwall, I have already sent my orders to him. Tell Blake that he can use the cannons and sees if he feels that our existence at Aurora is going to be leaked. It doesn't matter who the enemy is. Meanwhile, I will be sending someone over here to handle the administration so that you can go back to Aurora. John thought of Bruce, who recently visited him. Maybe I should give him the administration of Winter City. He is quite a capable man from the way he adjusted the budget recently. Ross nodded and noted it down. Okay, milord. I will immediately inform Blake. I will be waiting for the administrator. After reaching Imperial City, King fumed as he read Luke's report where that Count had completely rejected royal family's offer. It seems that Count is overconfident now that he got a big victory with those ballistas. Good, that overconfidence will be his downfall. One of the commanders from Dragon Unit spoke. Lord, why don't we invade them already? He clearly doesn't respect the authority of Elias family. They will only be waiting for a surprise now that we have the magic metal ballistas, not to mention the newly improvised Dragon Knights. Those ballistas have indirectly upgraded our Dragon Knights as well. The law minister smiled as he got the report from Luke. He was always wondering for a justification for invasion and explain the other nobles, but now he got a chance. He spoke. Isn't it good, milord? Now we can legitimately invade them. We can also use this conversation where the talks deteriorated while Count John didn't give any face to the royal family. Not to mention, these are official conversations. Minister Plato was more concerned as he thought, the guy who can write those laws to jump through our laws doesn't know the consequences of such an official conversation. Nah, he certainly knows the consequences. It seems just like Luke said, he is certainly hiding something and itching for a war. Maybe he believes that Duke Rose will support him in such an endeavor? Naive boy. However, after such big moves, can we really move back even if he has something? Nah, he is more likely overconfident after the last battle. Maybe we should invade them faster. Or maybe I should try to attack their granaries by using the Dragon Knights. Let's wait for now. No one has given me so much headache over time, not even those pesky demons or dwarves. Lionheart smiled and answered after hearing the law minister, yes, now we won't have those problems which we faced previously. Inform all the domains that we would be invading North Frontier City as it rightfully belongs to us. I am sure Erwin is already informed. Plato and others answered as they got to work, yes, sir. The next day, there was hubbub in the aristocratic circles as they heard about the elimination of 70,000 mercenaries in a single day by General Anak from North Frontier City. One of the aristocrats at the imperial ball commented, "Damn, that guy killed 70,000 men in a single day without blinking? How can he sleep at night? It's good that the royal family is taking some action against those barbarians." You heard about the talks, right? Marquis nodded his head and spoke, "Yeah, but I am just worried that this doesn't escalate into something big. Though the royal family has a big army and they can easily squash them, but I think the foreign powers might try to invade us when we are vulnerable internally. They might even try to ally with that count if they get a chance. It's good that he is landlocked, or it would have been troublesome to contain him and all those technologies." One of the Marquis who was from Norman's territory had a different view. "I think we are just viewing the same situation when the Lore family made those swords, but this time it was someone weaker and hence the consequences." The Marquis who spoke earlier had been hit because of the sanctions the royal family had imposed on North Frontier City. Previously he was supplying food, mulberry, and other resources to North Frontier City, which had improved the finances of his domain. He was finally able to become debt-free. Almost everyone went quiet and didn't talk on this as they too knew about the situation, but were drooling at North Frontier City and wait for mobilization if the war expanded. Duke Fjord was quite happy as he read the report of Joss where he successfully managed to divert the war. "Ha ha ha, good, with this we are now free in the seas. What do you think, Jonas?" Jonas too smiled as he nodded and spoke with worrying face, "Yes, this news is certainly good, but I am just worrying about that general who killed 70,000 men in one day. I am sure everyone has taken a note on that guy. Joss particularly did a good job, while we the Fjords and the Radiant Church were able to achieve our aims. 1. We were able to divert the war towards land. 2. Radiant Church got a chance to intrude in North Frontier Town while the royal family was forced to make a deal and share the loot. But still, there is one thing." Fjord furrowed his brows as he spoke, "What is it?" "It's the number of ships that we are losing as we travel north to track Blake and losing it to beasts, while also King Ludwin's suspicious actions." Fjord thought as if it was natural, "Well, I think it is because of the beasts that we are losing our ships. As far as Ludwin is concerned, we will keep him at a distance currently, or else that greedy King Lionheart will invade us on the pretext of treason to get his hands on our ships. Though we are very strong in the sea, he still has the magic Dragon Knights. Anyway, what are the results of those ballistas on the sea beasts?" Jonas nodded and answered, "They have been quite useful. We are now able to clear the sea beasts without much effort because of the ballistas, not to mention the runic ballistas. And this is one of the reasons why I feel there is something amiss at the northern seas. I don't there should be such a big difference between northern beast and deep northern sea beasts. The same is the case with dwarves. I heard their ambassador previously grumbling that they are losing quite an amount of ships in northwestern waters as opposed to northeastern waters. I think this may be related to Count John and Blake. Mind you, previously he has been able to escape towards north without any problems." Fjord thought a bit as a grim picture formed inside his head. Okay, inform your conclusions to Ludwin and his men. We too will accelerate our investigations in the north. Tell Aaron and Shannon to increase their scope of investigations." "Okay, my lord." Chapter 213. Currently, Duke Norman's men just got the new ballistas and were using these at the other border against the beasts. One of the guards asked curiously, "Boss, it has become quite easy to handle these beasts after we got these ballistas, why don't we increase the amount and funding on these weapons? What do you think?" The head nodded and spoke as he smoked a cigarette. "True, previously we always had to wait for those beasts to come near the walls to fire our arrows, which would make us vulnerable to their magic. However, these ballistas are provided by Prince Hector and Duke himself, so it's quite hard to get your hands on it." He watched the men using the ballistas as they were in a happy mood after a long time. One of the soldiers spoke as he laughed, "With this, we can even easily take the wildland away, can't we? Work has never been this easy." No wonder those guys at North Frontier City act quite cockily. The other guy understood but spoke in a grave tone, "Ah, please, why do you want to increase our workload? We are already at war with that count." Hearing this gossip, the head immediately jolted after hearing this talk. "Yes, why don't we tame all the untamed lands? Who knows, we can even find magic metal and gold mines, not to mention we would gain access to unknown lands. Damn it, I need to inform the Duke immediately. My promotion rests on this suggestion." However, currently, Ross and men were continuing to increase their lands where they would face some unknown beasts and roll over them by using the much superior cannons. Ross thought as he continued, "I guess Lord Taylor would be quite happy after knowing our current results and increase in our lands." The head murmured as he was coming back from the city office of Bliss City at North, "Damn it, I can't even contact the Duke or any other important officials. Well, I was still able to write a letter to them, who knows if they can take a look at it and get me promoted." Blake was currently patrolling the waters around Aurora and Winter City. As their ship spotted a small fleet of 4 ships with a flag of 2 cross pickaxes, 1 hammer at the bottom and a crown at the top. Boris the scout, irritatingly spoke after he spotted the fleet, "Damn it, again those dwarves, Why do they have the ballistas? It seems they have managed to copy it. Boss, see this, it's the dwarves again." One of the fleets of Fjords II was traveling towards the direction of Winter City, which was spotted by Blake and his men. One of the guys from the dwarves' fleet exclaimed as he spotted smoke in the sky, "Hey, how is there fire burning?" Head of the dwarves' fleet was alerted as he heard of the fire. "Fire? Is there a settlement? Weren't these dangerous beasts such as Draco elephants and the dark hyenas running around over there? There can't be fire beasts over here." As soon as he exclaimed, he soon heard the sound of a cannon shattering one of the ships. One of the guys exclaimed with horror as he spotted the cannonballs, "OMG, what is this? How are they able to attack us from such a long range? God, what is this ordeal?" Blake cursed as he spotted the 2 fleets. "Damn it, why did both of them have to come here together? Fuck it, use the cannon with full force, kill all of them or capture them, I don't care. No one should escape." He continued as he immediately ordered the other ships with a horn, "Don't let any one of them escape, or else it would only spell more trouble for us." Judd too nodded as he looked at his Aurora horse as he smiled and spoke, "I guess it is still not your time yet. You will have to wait for your time of action." Judd nodded after hearing Blake as he ordered his men to fire at Fjord's camp. "Fire! Don't miss a single one. Just use them as we did with the ballistas." The dwarf captain roared, "So these are the guys who are responsible for the many sunken ships and dead men previously. We will certainly repay you for this." He immediately ordered, "Leave, we are leaving immediately." Judd smiled as he heard the head, "You wish. We would be dead if you guys are able to escape with these accessories." The dwarves' men too were bombarded by the cannons as Blake and his men started using the cannons with full force towards their enemies. One of the men from Dwarves' Board liked to keep a log whenever he traveled as he noted down the events he witnessed today. Watching the dwarves trying to run, Fjord's men too started running after spotting the dwarves. The head of Fjord's ship cursed as he spotted the settlement, "Damn it, no wonder they were able to survive in the monstrous wilds these days. They had already made a base at this settlement. We need to inform the Duke immediately about this development. As they were running, Blake smiled for the first time and started to use the boosters and steam engines on the ships. Blake smiled and ordered, "Time to show them our real power. Men, unleash this sea beast warship. I will see how they escape today." Bran immediately came and spoke, "Boss, please, you don't try to act cool. You can give us straight orders." The mates at the ship laughed as they immediately followed the orders. Both of them, Fjord and dwarves, were quite surprised as they found the acceleration of the warships belonging to Count John. The dwarf captain roared as he noticed the peculiarity, "Damn it, what sorcery is this? How are they able to overrun the ship made by fjords? Are we really running behind the times?" He roared and ordered his men, "Resist, we can't run. Approach them and try to kill them." One of the guys threw a bottle with a letter inside the ocean before even his ship caught fire. He sighed and spoke, "It's better if we surrender." Very soon all of them were gunned down, while 2 ships surrendered themselves, which was caught by Blake. Blake sighed with relief as he was able to contain the situation. Phew, none of them were able to escape. "Bring the prisoners back to Aurora," Judd remarked as he escorted the 2 ships. "It is getting dangerous day by day. We need to do something about it." One of the guys roared, "Damn it, what are those weapons you used before? And how come your ships are so fast compared to our ships?" One of the guys smiled and answered, "Just a secret trump card. Well, we couldn't have let you reveal the existence of Aurora and Winter City, so, in the end, we had to use them. As far as the speed of ships are concerned, it is because of the something that we developed recently, i.e. the magic boosters." With an irritated face, Judd roared to Gossiper, "Stop shooting your mouth left and right. Don't come crying when I give you harsher punishment." Meanwhile, that bottle with a letter was slowly traveling in the sea. Very soon 4 days passed. General Irwin remarked as he saw the same casual pace at the borders of the southern castle, "It seems they are still not ready to surrender. It seems we have no choice." Johnson smiled as she saw the event unfolding, "Yes, we can finally start our operation. I am sure you are ready, right?" Irwin nodded and called his messenger, "Yes, I want to send that general one last letter." John was at the southern castle after he got the warning of invasion from King Lionheart himself. Arlen smiled and asked, "Lord, you seem unusually happy currently, what's the occasion?" John smiled and answered, "Well, this is the time when we are finally ready to unmask all the pretenses, both by the royal family and we the North Frontier domain. If a battle occurs today, then it will be sending shockwaves to the whole continent because of this battle, and we will establish our power for the first time. However, this continent will face a lot of losses if that king is stubborn." Arlen was amused as he thought a bit and answered, "Lord, what would be your decision if the royal family had supported you instead of Fjord previously?" John smiled and answered after looking at armies on both the sides, "Well, in that case, I would have fulfilled my promises, fought for the Elias kingdom just like any other person if they kept their promises. I am not someone who will betray unless I am betrayed. I guess I have my honor when I make promises. Not to mention, the royal family who has a history of betrayals. It's quite ironic as sometimes I value honor while sometimes when it comes to the lives of my men I won't value honor. I guess I am somewhat of a hypocrite." Arlen was quite shocked after hearing him as he pondered on John's answer. Lord is quite an interesting man. Luke was currently worrying about his life as it seemed that Count John was not bluffing previously when he had talks with him. Damn. We are finally at this point. Do we really have to go through this war? Can't that Count simply bow his head once or sacrifice some of his men? Looking at the ruckus at the ambassadorial place, Taylor came in and spoke, "Minister Luke, you don't need to worry about your life as long as you are behaving according to the protocols. We are not someone who will implicate a diplomat or a messenger even if he is of the enemy kingdom." Luke was shocked as he heard Taylor, "They never referred us as an enemy kingdom. What are they planning?" Luke angrily asked after hearing him. What do you mean, Interior Minister Taylor? Are you referring us as an enemy kingdom? North Frontier domain still belongs to Elias. Taylor looked down at him and spoke with a cold tone. It is as you have heard. I think you already know about the armies at our borders, or the situation at present where there are 3 armies, one belonging to General Irwin, second the Templars of Radiant Church, and third one, ours. This is the day of reckoning which all of you should know. If we lose this war, most of us belonging to North Frontier domain would die. And if we survive, we will be carving up a new kingdom. You better be prepared for this, because the greed of the royal family led to this situation. And yes, you shouldn't be worried about your life. Do you know why the people here still trust Count John? Taylor had a nostalgic face as he remembered that day clearly. He continued and spoke with resolve. It is because he has never let his people down from the day he became a lord here. I still remember that day clearly, when Count John stood by Jake. When Evan asked for Jake's head, that was the day when I saw that all the people here changed with him, including me. You see, the irony is, even I as a father, I was prepared to not blame the Count if he gave up on Jake when he met a bigger power in the form of Evan. But unexpectedly, he did the unthinkable and stood by his men for the injustice done by the aristocrats of this land. I am glad that even if I die in this war, I will die serving a lord who will be there fighting along with us. Look at the men outside. You will see that all of them are determined to fight with their lord, which includes the commoners and slaves who will soon become commoners. Luke was astonished as he heard Taylor's resolute announcement. Most of the guards here were moved by Taylor but angered at thought of carving up a kingdom, but still understood the thinking of people at North Frontier City. They were quite used to the royal family scandals when they read the paper, and hence their indifference currently. Taylor clearly remembered how John wanted to keep the promises he made and spoke with a smile to all of them present. Do you know what was your mistake? He continued with a smile. You didn't keep your promises with us, and you thought that we would take all of these offenses lying down. Ellison nodded as he heard Taylor. He thought, no wonder Count John has such big support over here. It seems he always had this big plan when he stood up for that slave. I guess I can now trust that we wouldn't be hurt over here. However, this war will certainly be catastrophic if we face such men. That Count is surely dangerous if he had planned all of this from the start. Luke seriously pondered for the first time. It seems I underestimated them. We really miscalculated big time. I wish I had some way to stop this war. Damn it. Did we really make a big mistake by supporting Fjord instead of Count John? Chapter 214. Very soon, Irwin's letter reached John via the messenger. John laughed as he looked at the letter with humor, which was offering him a position which was equal to General Irwin by King Lionheart for betraying himself. John burned the letter with fire magic, which was seen by everyone. He looked at the messenger and spoke. I guess, these guys only understand power. Anyway, you got the answer, right? Tell your general that he should stop with his petty games and start already. I am already bored with all the war rhetoric. The messenger saw John in astonishment, because he was fairly certain that General Anak would certainly accept the offer, or at least be moved by it and give the signal if he accepted the proposal, since he would be made a lord by His Majesty and given a fief equal to a count. However, John immediately burned it after reading it once without bothering any more. The messenger looked at Anak and thought, it seems this general won't move with money or power. I guess he has other motivations when he is fighting us. Arlen smiled as he looked at the letter. He thought, fools. They want Count John to betray himself? Ha ha ha, now this is hilarious. I am sure everyone at the administrative palace would be having a laugh if they hear this. I guess having a mask has its own perks. John roared to his men as soon as the messenger left. I am sure all of you are ready. Today many of us may die, but I want to make sure we die protecting our beliefs. Protecting our land and protecting the ones we love, while making sure that we take 100 of enemies down when they claim one. Today is the day, which will see the creation of a new kingdom. The Sky Kingdom, which will be headed by King John. He will take the name Sky, John Sky. Sky will be the limit for us and also show our ambitions. Today we will either die protecting our land or carve out a new kingdom if we survive it. The messenger looked at John with incredulity as he heard John Hu speaking on a sound stone. I wonder what were those new toys instead of ballistas? Who knows? It seems don't care about their lives as this general is speaking such a sinning speech. There was big cheer from the whole castle as they heard John. Most of the people had immense anger against the royal family for deliberately targeting the NF domain but didn't say anything for a long time. The army at the borders only angered them more as the royal army didn't do anything to the mercenaries. One of the captains spoke, at long last, Lord is going to take a stand. Yup, since the general said it now after reaching this point, he has the approval from Lord. While Erwin and the army on the other side were looking at the Souther castle with immense anger. It was as if they said something which was fully sinful. Johnson looked at the castle with shock as he heard the speech. What is he planning now after speaking this suddenly? Do they want to die early? Looking at the messenger's face, Luke understood that their plan to recruit him didn't work. Erwin looked at Anik and thought, it seems they have shed all the pretenses of polite talk. Very well, I will make sure their arrogance dies with this speech today itself. Erwin thought as he looked at the letter, I wonder what is motivating him to fight us this resolutely, or has the Count given him bigger benefits? Most of the people would have accepted this deal from the royal family. Erwin had a frustrating expression as he spoke, such a hassle, it would have been an easy battle if that general had accepted this offer. I guess we will have to start moving. Come, Johnson, we are moving. I hope you can immediately attack them from the sides when we engage them. Such a small count and he dares try to secede? Even the dukes would think 1,000 times before speaking such bullshit. If that count and this general get in my hand, then I will make sure he suffers a fate worse than hell. Currently, the letter which was flowing in the ocean had finally reached the port near Laguna City. Looking at the bottle, one of the sailors at the port decided to pick it up. What is this? This bottle looks quite expensive. Let's see what is in it. He opened the bottle and saw that there a letter which seemed like a diary note by someone. I can't recognize this language. Maybe I should ask someone at Laguna about this. Looking at the armies moving towards the southern castle, John ordered his 7,000 men. I hope all of you are ready. Today is the day this world will witness the real firepower of Sky Kingdom and the consequences of provoking us. I am sure all of you are waiting to show the real firepower of the Sky Kingdom to the whole world. John continued as he looked at his army, which was full of people from various species. Fire the cannons as soon as they reach 1 mile mark where they can't run nor can they invade. Make this battlefield a hell for them. Bringing armies over here itself was a nail in the coffin for them. Erwin smiled as he spoke, that general is in for a surprise when he witnesses the real power and range of our ballistas. I am sure he will be regretting rejected our offer and making such a bold claim. I heard his domain has a lot of species. Erwin's subordinate answered, yes, my lord. That is true. Erwin had a cruel smile as he ordered immediately, now this would be fun. Okay, we don't need to keep a soldier of theirs alive. While you guys can do what you want with other species apart from humans who are loyal to the crown. As far as humans are concerned, kill anyone who resists after we invade. This domain will pay for supporting the insolence of Count John. Our spies this time would come in handy. Erwin's army loudly cheered as they heard his speech and war cry. Kill those traitors. No mercy to these traitors. At Dolores, Prince Hector and Duke Norman got a report from a scout. He spoke hurriedly as he narrated the story. My lord, Lord Erwin has started his invasion since Count John has decided to resist bitterly. Hector smiled as he heard the report. Looks like this is our chance. What do you think, Duke Norman? Duke Norman nodded and answered, yes, we need to move as well. We will be attacking them at their western front. From what I know, there are only 2 complete rookies heading the western castle of North Frontier City. One of them is a kid called Amber and the other is Marsh. It seems Jay is in the city as we got confirmed info from our sources. Alistair nodded and answered, if my guess is correct, then Jay is most likely in the city to control the internal situation if the spies start to act. I think we should wait if we are really going to attack Count John. We should at least wait and then act, or else who knows what pitfall we may suffer because of that cunning count. I am sure all of you still remember the massacre of all the mercenaries and the guards at the mercenary camp. We shouldn't let anger cloud our judgment. Duke Norman was moved after hearing Alistair and thought about the impending crisis he could face if he loses all of his men, not to mention the displeasure of lords on losing so many men. Yes, we will go with Alistair's suggestion. We should wait before we strike. He thought, I can't risk the ire of lords if they lose their men, meanwhile the others are just waiting for my failure, not to mention they have interests connected to North Frontier Domain. TCH. Antonio sounded as he heard Alistair's suggestion. Antonio smiled and remarked, wanting to counter Alistair, what if we lose our only chance to attack when they are vulnerable? I am sure they are already facing the attacks of violent beasts as winter has already started. We won't get a better chance in the future if they stabilize. Alistair, would you take the responsibility if we lose this chance? Alistair straightforwardly smiled and answered, nope. However, would you take the responsibility if our army is erased just like those mercenaries when they provoked Count John? Who knows, they may even invade Dolores if they are angry. I am sure Duke Norman and Prince would make a lot of enemies if they take a rash decision because of your lack of foresight. The nobles are already suspicious if we can win it after hearing the previous battle results. As far as my opinion is concerned, this is just my suggestion. I am not a lord, nor am I forcing my suggestion and conclusions on anyone over here, so it is your decision in the end. Prince Hector's ears pierced as he heard Alistair, while he couldn't ignore Alistair's warning as he already knew that he was duped by Charlie big time previously when he ignored Alistair's warning. Antonio was red in ears as he heard Alistair, who was talking in a big tone. Just before he was going to refute, Prince Hector said with a resolute tone, we will not attack them with our full army. We will attack them with 30% of our army and act as the battle goes. Alistair sighed as he lost all the hope in Prince Hector, and with a resolute face he thought, I guess I will still be a slave in his eyes. I guess, only the previous battle result scared him enough that he has decided to hold back this time around. However, if we attack them, they would most likely invade us. Well, it is this Buffon Baron's loss for his arrogance. I already gave them a hint. In the end, it's their choice. My only duty is to protect the prince. Alistair smiled as he looked at the meeting without saying anything. Duke Norman was in his thoughts as he thought that this was a better decision as well. He thought, well, that Count needs to be taken care of anyway. I guess this is a safer choice. Antonio smiled as he thought that Prince Hector was giving him face as he heard his suggestion. In the end, you are still a slave. Chapter 215. A lot of people were watching this confrontation from a distance as they looked at the moving armies of Lord Irwin and Templar Johnson. Justin's spy was one of the guys keenly observing this particular battle after hearing about the destruction of mercenaries. He murmured as he looked at the patrolling officers, it's good that Duke Blackwolf didn't fight directly with that count, or else we would have suffered enormous losses, not to mention the threat of beasts and demons in West. I guess this distance was useful to us when thought of attacking that count. Giorgio thought as he looked at the police patrols in the town. He saw that the policemen were not tense but tried to keep their calm. He murmured, it seems, it is really serious. Looking at their resolve to keep calm, I guess something big is happening. I better don't miss it. No wonder Boss Duncan wanted me to keep a keen look at the movements at North Frontier City. He ordered his subordinate, if there is any important news, deliver the info to me directly. This time a big operation is taking place and helping Count John would be useful to us later on. Not to mention they are our biggest suppliers of weapons currently. Prince will soon reveal his cards. Giorgio headed towards the border as he looked at the patrols and calm streets. Liam and his men were nowhere to be seen while Gray was keeping a look on the hostile spies that were already known to them. At different locations, Gray and Diril spoke to the new ghosts without any hesitation to their men, No need to worry as long as it is related to spies. Kill them or take them in custody if they act suspiciously and try to create chaos when we are at war. We already have enough evidence of their espionage activities if anyone raises a question, not to mention we are in a state of war currently, so no need to hesitate when taking actions. Take these sketches and keep a thorough look at these guys. These guys were specially hired by the royal family and Prince Hector, and this is the time of high alert. You don't need to worry about policemen and detectives. They will be handled by Minister J and cooperating with us. Except for that guy Dwight, you can act on other spies. He will have a bigger use in the future. The new ghosts nodded as they were already prepared for such a situation. Yes, sir. Okay, you can leave. Everyone of various species left in civilian clothes as they spread to the whole city and started their operations on the foreign spies with determined looks, as they knew that a war was going on at their borders. Minister Brandon meanwhile sighed as he left the imperial city for the Duchy at Iron Rainforest. He sighed and murmured, I guess it was impossible to stop the king and other ministers after such a proclamation from Count John. I wonder why he is so confident and why Duke Rose is betting on him. Well, I guess he has bigger plans. He left as he sighed. The imperial capital was in a happy atmosphere as aristocrats and the nobles rejoiced as they got a chance to gain honor and glory, while some nobles were cursing the decision as this stopped their profitable trade with North Frontier City. While the commoners too were supporting the crown for invasion after rigorous propaganda by the royal family. However, many had differing voices. One of the traders at Imperial City spoke. Of course he deserves to be invaded, he has no respect for the laws of royal family. Not to mention that his army is full of bandits, whether it is Blake or that new General Anak. One of the guys who knew about North Frontier City spoke up, what do you know? That general is praised by the surrounding villagers of Dolores. The royal family always supported those mercenaries discreetly. Now, at last, that menace is finished for good, or who knows how many more of those massacres of Greenwood's village would have happened. My friend himself witnessed how the mercenaries were taking people hostage in the last battle where all of those guys were killed, not to mention the collaboration of the royal family and Prince Hector. The guy nodded a bit as he had a brother at the Knights Division, but it still doesn't change the fact that he doesn't respect the royal family, and most of the people at power have done bad deeds for their interests. The other guy sighed and just gave one advice as he left for Duke Rose's domain. This will be a bloody war from what I know, and this time royal family is invading their lands. What do you think? How would the local populace react to it? It would be better if you love your brother and his morality, because after this war his morality will certainly change since he is in the army. Soon Erwin smiled as he was charging slowly with his army and magic ballista team. He thought, this guy is in for a surprise today. This guy's empty bluster will end today. The people at Capital are making a mountain out of a mole when they are talking about this general. Charge and start targeting their castle at 800 M1000 M mark. I would surely like to see their shocked expressions after the first assault and the range of our ballistas. One of the commanders laughed as he was itching to use these ballistas. Ha ha ha, those guys are surely nothing in front of us, the Royal Knights. Today is the day they will know what is worse than hell. I would like to see their horror and despair when they would beg for their lives. However, they have already sinned after that traitorous announcement previously. Johnson and his men soon diverted and were going to assault the castle from the sides. All of the Templars had siege weapons as they slowly moved away. Johnson roared as he saw that Erwin had started acting. Today is the day when this city of sinners pays the price for insulting the Radiant Church. I am sure all of you Templars are charged up and can't wait to punish these sinners. Today, this wait is over. The only thing stopping us from spreading the word of God is that accursed city and those castles. If we are able to achieve our mission, we will be able to spread the word of God 100 times faster, number 1000 times faster. John made a cunning smile as he heard their war cries and waited for the right time to silence them all. All of the men at the southern castle had resolute faces as they waited for their enemy to invade their castles. John smiled and spoke after looking at the opposite army's bluster. I guess they are overestimating their new ballistas. It's good that Master was able to find out about their factory, which will reduce our losses. I would like to see their expressions of horror and shock when they witness the power of our cannons and rifles. Arlen nodded as he agreed with John, as he thought, well, I know exactly how they would react. It would be just like those mercenaries were killed by rifles. Erwin was proudly charging with the army as he and his army held their heads high as if this war would be a piece of cake. The previous commander was still bragging as he charged with his men, this time we would ace this battle. We had the best results in training so far, so I hope this battle will be stepping stone for us to rise to higher ranks. However, as he bragged, soon everyone heard an explosion which came from the castle. Erwin's subordinate remarked as he thought, are they mad? They are already firing? We aren't even near the 1-mile mark. Chapter 216. Very soon he saw that various ballista units of theirs were blown to shreds as he witnessed the truly horrific power of cannons. One of the soldiers remarked as he saw that a colleague was blown to shreds, God, what is this? Is this the end of the world? One scout spotted the direction and spoke in a frustrated manner, no, it is coming from the southern castle. Watch carefully, those are round projectiles. Damn it, what are these weapons? The commander who was bragging previously was the first casualty of the opening salvo of cannons. 2 whole teams were destroyed in shreds as people started hearing explosions. Erwin was the one who was truly shocked after watching the firepower and range of the cannons. What the hell are those things, killing even our best soldiers? Erwin was still in shock as he saw a pair of eyes towards his direction as he saw a cannonball coming his way. The owner of those eyes was John as he smiled. John had a mischievous smile as he looked at the monkey show done by the army. Erwin roared as he immediately used his short sword when he saw a cannonball coming his way. As soon as the cannonball came near him, he activated his short magic sword and threw earth projectiles using the sword on the way of cannonballs. The cannons were still unperturbed by projectiles as they moved towards Erwin's direction as he used water magic and blasted a water cannon towards the cannonballs, which finally blasted the cannonballs in a distance. Erwin looked at the cannons in horror as he finally escaped the ordeal and grunted, good, I had this sword or it would have been tough to come out unscathed. He looked at the lore swords with relief, which had increased his abilities as a magic knight, 200% increase in magic power. He looked at John and the cannons with anger and dark light, this is dangerous. Quite a cunning guy to immediately target me. If not for these swords, I would have died probably. John looked at Erwin with surprise and remarked, it seems those are the famed lore swords, no wonder the royal family targeted them immediately. John with a cunning light immediately ordered, Arlen, order the men to use the runic cannons on their commander. Start your assault on the wings towards the invading Templars. Now is the time to shock them. You can use the runic cannons on the Templar commander as well. I want to teach them a lesson which they would never forget. Arlen nodded as he smiled and spoke to the cannoneer. The cannoneer was surprised but immediately nodded as he ordered his men to take out the runic cannonball, which was full of runes and was immediately loaded into the cannon. Sir, it's ready. Arlen nodded and spoke, target that commander, the one with that short sword. Orders are straight from General Anak. Kill him and that army would collapse. He nodded and roared, fire. Almost immediately a cannonball was fired which had runes glowing on it. Erwin again saw the cannonball coming his way as he cursed, again that nuisance, god damn it. He again used his short sword as he used earth magic and shooted bigger projectiles this time around. As soon as the cannonball was in contact with the stone projectile, it accelerated as the fire wind magic activated and started moving towards Erwin. With a serious face, he looked at the cannonball as he used water cannon along with bigger stone projectiles almost immediately. In this attack, he used most of his magic power as he started breathing heavily. This time, cannonball immediately exploded with 10 times power as the shrapnel immediately scattered in various directions and killed the men. While Erwin was resisting with his short sword, he activated a rune which amplified the power of the short sword. This time the water cannon and stone projectiles resisted the shrapnels as shockwaves passed through the whole surroundings. A lot of people in the surrounding died after facing the onslaught of shrapnels. After this clash, Erwin's sword almost had a crack as he looked at John with an angered face. He cursed as he glared at John, "Fucking cunning bastard. He sure is hellbent on killing the commanders first." I guess this was one of the reasons why he won his previous battle, as said by Joss. Currently, blood was coming out of the mouth as he ordered his surviving men immediately, "We are leaving. We were played big time by that count. Now, this war is out of hand. Tell that Johnson to leave immediately if he wants to survive." The subordinate started using light magic on Erwin to heal him as he pointed towards the direction where Johnson was heading. "It's late, my lord. They are already charging, and same is the case for us." Erwin looked at the crazed Templars with anger as he ordered his subordinate, "God damn it. Fuck it, let him and those crazies die if they want. Just give him a horn signal. If he doesn't listen, then that's his fault. Tell the army we are changing directions and leaving immediately from the wings." Before the subordinate could even give the signal, suddenly big noises came from the castle as they started firing towards the Templars. He still gave the signal to his men as they started changing their directions. 30 cannonballs were fired in one round as it surrounded the whole right wing, which was being headed by Johnson and his Templars. Looking at the explosions, the whole army belonging to Erwin was surprised, as well as it was full of horror and despair. One of the commanders cursed as he watched his men die one after another. "Damn it, why are we facing this? Why was there no news about these weapons from the spy department? Friggin' leave your ballistas if you want to survive. They are deliberately targeting the ballistas first. This battle is a complete disaster." One of the other captains too noticed the peculiarity as he remarked, "Yes, almost 60% of our ballistas are already in ashes. Fuck, how long is the range of those cannons? We need to escape immediately." Erwin's subordinate spoke, "Those normal cannons are just the appetizers, those runic cannons are the biggest threats to our commanders currently." This count was quite cunning, no wonder he was provoking us for war when he had such a weapon at his disposal. All of us were taken as fools. The Templars were charging with John as they ignored the various sounds at the nearby battlefield. "Kill the sinners! Kill the sinners!" Johnson was smiling ear to ear as he thought, "I hope that Liam completes his work of infiltrating that city and opening the gates of chaos." However, soon he saw the first salvo of cannonballs coming their way and watched it stupendously. Soon after the explosion, realization struck him as he witnessed carnage beyond his imaginations. Johnson had his mouth open as he exclaimed after watching the cannonball flying towards his army, "What the hell is this?" Much to his surprise, soon a runic ballista came his way as he tried to resist the cannonball coming his way. He immediately activated a rune as he used his sword to resist the cannonball. He used light magic to pierce the cannonball. Soon the cannonball was shattered and the shrapnel exploded in different directions as he too faced the same assault. This time he couldn't withstand the shrapnels as multiple shrapnels pierced his body as he looked at John with horror and surprise. "How can I have such a pathetic death without even fighting a bit? No, I won't let this happen." He looked at the direction of Erwin, who was trying to escape while blood was seeping from the sides of his mouth. "That bastard!" Chapter 217. Before Johnson could say anything more, another cannonball came his way as his men couldn't withstand the explosion and died with it. During this explosion, he too was hit by it and was attacked with shrapnels. He groaned as he tried to remove the shrapnel from his body. "That fucker is hellbent on killing me. Arg! Damn, what is this weapon?" He used light magic as he tried to recover. Some of his Templars came to heal him, however, they were again bombarded with a runic cannonball. John smiled as he looked at Johnson with a smile and remarked, "Arlen, you see, I don't like leaving my enemies alive unless it is necessary, or else they will come to bite you back. You must always follow this rule when engaging enemies." Arlen smiled as he understood after looking at the assault of cannonballs on Johnson. Before dying, Johnson looked at North Frontier City's southern castle incredibly as he remarked, "That fucker played all of us into it. However, he has also opened the pits of hell along with this move. Humph, does he think that the royal family or the Radiant Church will let such an asset go so easily? In dreams." Before he died, he chanted and used a rune. The rune flew in the sky as a light flashed and disappeared. As soon as he died, the Templars were in disorder as most of their leaders died in the previous attack. Some took charge of the army and started moving with more frenzy. Charge Templars, we can't let these demons win this war with their demonic weapons. The future of the Radiant Church depends on our success. We can't let this opportunity go to waste. Currently, Francis was in Dolores. Francis sighed as he looked at the flashing light in the sky and understood that Johnson died. He murmured, "This seems too early. I don't think he would die this easily. I guess Master will soon know the reason, as Johnson won't use it unless required." John smiled as he looked at the Mad Templars and ruthlessly ordered his men, "Fire with double the speed, not a single one of them should live after today's battle. If they come close to the castle, start using your guns. Kill anyone who tries to invade us." Meanwhile at the two western castles, Amber and Marsh were in charge of the 3,000 men each. Prince Hector and his men had already reached the western castle with their army. They were keenly watching the geography as Prince Hector asked his men, "What do you think?" Norman looked at the map and then at the castle as he spoke. "Strategically speaking, Southern Castle is the focal point of North Frontier Domain, as roads are connected through Southern Castle to important points. However, it would be better than nothing when the Southern Castle is engaged with Irwin and the Radiant Church, so they won't be able to support them." Alistair nodded as he read a report from Blisstown and spoke uninterestedly, "Yes, Southern Castle is the spine of North Frontier Domain currently. From what I know, Southern Castle has a lot of reserves as well if they are in a crisis. I assume their policymakers deployed more men at Southern Castle knowing its importance, as they would be able to capture the Western Castles via the Southern Castle even if they lose it. However, this could all be an illusion as well." Alistair sighed as he read a report by an officer, "We should have rather expanded our lands in the north rather than getting involved in this useless war." Antonio furrowed his brows as heard Alistair. He spoke, "However, this is a chance for us to mount an attack on them. Who says we need to use the roads to attack the North Frontier town? And surprises are better, you know. If North Frontier town falls, then there would be total chaos and it would be a chance for us." Alistair smiled as he interrupted him and added, "And everyone else. Who knows, we might feel the ire of that count if that happens, since we were the ones who started this chaos. And we are still not sure about the total capabilities of Count John's men yet." Norman shuddered a bit but was reassured as he heard Antonio. Antonio furrowed a bit but laid out his hypothesis, "Not true necessarily. If their western front collapses, we will gain access to their best weapons, which can be used against other strategic points of theirs. Who knows, we can even capture the Southern Castle and sweep through all the enemies presently. We might be able to claim a bigger piece of North Frontier Domain. This would also be detrimental for Prince Hector's claim to the throne." Prince Hector smiled as he thought of claiming throne, while Norman was drooling when he thought of gaining the various factories and businesses of North Frontier Town, which would be detrimental for his domain. Norman thought, "Yes, this might very well make the northern domain of Elias Kingdom as the industrial hub of this whole continent. Yes, this is a chance we can't lose. Risks and gains always follow hand in hand." Hector smiled and thought, "Who cares if someone faces the ire of that count? If he invades more than necessary, then the royal family will instantly deploy the Dragon Knights. At worst, we would back off to Gretos. However, if I win, I would have a real chance to claim the throne in the future. Not a bad choice in exchange for some soldiers." Alistair smiled as he heard Antonio but didn't say anything. He thought as he heard Antonio, "Idiot. If that count was a fool, he would have long succumbed to Fjord and royal family's pressure. Well, this war would still be fun if that count is able to turn the tables after battling against Lord Irwin, since Antonio would be paying the biggest price. It would be hilarious if that guy comes begging, as he wouldn't be able to control the situation for long when there is chaos at Dolores. I expect Count John to free Baron Mendez and see the fun later on. Looking at his actions, I am sure that Count would only invade to loot the resources and back off as he did previously. Alistair looked closely at both the castles and remarked, "Both of these castles seem unusually close, we should avoid attacking them from the middle. I would advise to attack them from the sides as a safer bet." Norman looked at the castles and agreed, "Yes, we should attack them from the sides. I think we should attack the castle headed by that General Amber. I have heard that he is quite hot-headed, unlike the other cold guy Marsh." Alistair nodded as he too agreed with Norman. Hector smiled as he looked at both the castles. "Okay, it's decided, we will attack Amber's castle. Come and prepare to attack fast." Amber and Marsh watched Hector's army from their respective castles as they looked through the telescopes. Amber and Marsh both lit the signal high in the air as they prepared to face the onslaught. "Fire the signal." Marsh looked at the army and spoke, "It seems, we won't be facing a bigger army this time around." Marsh's subordinate from the Ghosts remarked, "It seems they are still scarred from the previous battle when they eradicated the mercenaries. It seems Commander Annick's actions had an effect on them psychologically." Marsh smiled and spoke, "Well, this small army ain't doing shit to us, we are 6,000 men already." The subordinate looked at their formation and spoke, "It looks like they plan to attack Amber from the way they are preparing the charge of their men and ballistas." Marsh nodded as he looked at them, "I guess Amber can have all the fun. It seems Amber is teasing them even when they are in range." Hector smiled and ordered, "Try to target their ballistas, they won't be getting any help as the southern castle is already engaged. This might be our chance to gain glory, power, and wealth. Who knows if we can get this chance again. Currently, we don't need to worry as we have the ballistas as well while that general is at southern castle." All the lords and knights roared as they drooled at the thought of gaining power, wealth, and all the other luxuries. Hector and his men were slowly charging. As Hector and his men charged, surprisingly, suddenly, the whole battlefield shook. Boom! Boom! Continuous explosions were heard throughout the battlefield as the nearby castle started their barrage. Chapter 218. Marsh's subordinate grinned and spoke as he heard the explosions, "I guess it has started. It seems he wanted to attack them at the right mark when they can't head back. What do we do, my lord?" Marsh smiled as he looked at the first attack, "Order 1,000 men to prepare their rifles. The rifle squad will be coming with us. We will be hunting soon with rifles as they are not in our range. Prepare my sniper rifle as well. I want to try it today, who knows I can get a good kill today." Looking at the first attack, all of the soldiers were shocked as they saw the horrific explosion which occurred at their base. One of the soldiers screamed as he saw his friend getting shredded in pieces, "What the hell is this? Is this the power of their ballistas? We were never briefed about this." Another soldier remarked as he saw a lord getting killed even after using his runes to protect himself, "Damn, we can't head back after we started the charge. God damn it! Who the hell can survive that onslaught? Do we have enough information on our enemy?" Alistair was particularly alerted as he looked at the western castle while Prince Hector and others were confused and horrified after looking at the scale of the previous attack. Amber roared again as he ordered his men, "Fire again! I want to make sure none of them leave this battlefield alive. We will chase them if required." Again a salvo of cannonballs was fired as they shred the soldiers apart. The morale of soldiers slowly faded away after each salvo of cannonballs. Many were desperately clutching their swords as they prayed to leave this battlefield after witnessing the terrifying battle power of cannons. A lot of people's bravado was gone after getting stuck by the reality of war. Some lords still had a deep resolve as they were deep in debt and wanted to save their house. For the first time, battlefield revealed the true natures of a lot of people. One of the lords roared hysterically, "What the hell is this? At this rate, we will be finished in no time. We need to leave. Fuck it, I ain't fighting a lost battle, not to mention we have such small numbers currently. This would be a massacre before we even reach the range of their castle. They are attacking us when they are 1 mile away from us." As they were charging, another explosion occurred, only now did Alistair understand the plan of Count John. He thought as he looked at the round projectiles loaded with horrific power. He curiously thought, looking at these weapons, it looks like he was simply playing with everyone previously, whether it was the royal family or the mercenaries. No wonder he sold those ballistas to royal family previously. It seems everyone miscalculated this guy. This guy certainly has big plans in his mind. I guess everyone would be shocked tomorrow. Alistair seriously looked at Hector and spoke, Lord, this battle is over. We should leave, it is dangerous. Hector was confused a bit as he looked angrily at Alistair for his proposal to desert the battlefield, but after looking at the horrific nature of cannons he nodded calmly and ordered, Duke Norman, we need to leave. Without saying anything, Duke Norman and Antonio followed the prince. One of the Marquis cursed as he looked at one of the lords who was torn to shreds after he was struck by the cannonball. None of his powerful runes was useful against this attack. Fuck, why did we join this campaign? If I knew we would face this, I would have rather listened to Casey and stayed back. One of the lords remarked as he came to a 1-2 mile mark, damn it, how big is the range of those cannons? Aren't we far away already? Alistair looked at the cannons and thought, it seems they are quite good at targeting commanders, however, it seems that the commander likes to tease his enemies. Well, it's good as long as Prince can escape. Alistair then looked at Antonio and thought, now let's see how you flail as this war escalates. Yes, I have a perfect way. In no time, half of Hector's army was wiped out as they scrambled to run away towards Dolores. Alistair keenly looked at the castle where Marsh was residing. It seems they want to chase us. What are those weird sticks in their hands? It seems they have a lot of weapons on them. Those horses too are wearing a lot of weird materials. Marsh and his men were on their horses as they prepared to chase Hector's army. Hector too noticed them as he had some hope on his face as he spotted them. He smiled and spoke, this would be our chance to attack them after we get out of their range. We can turn the tables. We might be able to capture their castle if we can get our hands on their general. Lure them outside the range of their ballistas and attack them. Alistair looked at the guns as he had a bad premonition after looking at Marsh's smiling face. Lord, I don't think they are that stupid to chase us unless they have a good plan. Look around us, we have already lost all of our ballistas, not to mention the current morale of our army. Additionally, don't we know the previous record of General Annick's men when they clashed with mercenaries? That general would not be stupid to appoint an idiot at this castle even if they are amateurs. We already are in a pit after we attacked them. Those weapons were their trump card. We have to leave. Amber smiled as he looked at Marsh, who was preparing his rifle. He spoke to his subordinate, come, we too are chasing them. I will be bringing 1,000 men along with me. You will be in charge of this castle in the meantime I am gone. Keep shooting the cannons at them as long as they are in range. Marsh and his team were chasing them with full spirit. Today they were quite spirited after hearing John's proclamation of carving out a new kingdom. Marsh remarked as he heard about Count John's stand today, this will be a historic day in the annals of this kingdom. This battle would decide if we go down as traitors or kings. Marsh first positioned himself as he looked at Hector and his men in the middle of the flock as he prepared his sniper rifle to shoot Prince Hector on the horse. Marsh cursed as he looked through the telescope of the sniper rifle with irritation, damn it, it's hard to snipe while riding a horse. I wonder how does that sneaky guy Gray does it. It's good that Lord John's sniping technique is coming to use. The wind is going west. Low air pressure, I should try it anyway. Here goes nothing. Bang! Marsh recoiled with his horse as he looked at the Hector smiling while watching their chase. Marsh smiled as the bullet moved towards Hector, I guess this is my day. The bullet was going straight at Hector's head as Alistair sensed something as he immediately pushed away Prince Hector as he looked back. Later he saw one of the guys going down as the bullet struck his head. He was immediately horrified after watching the power of sniper. He looked at Marsh, who was smiling. Marsh groaned, arg. I guess it is not my day. Hector immediately roared at Alistair after getting pushed, the fuck is this? What are you doing, Alistair? Alistair pointed at the soldier and then at Marsh, who fired at them. He spoke gravely, "It would have been you if I didn't push you, my lord." Alistair thought gravely, "This is bad. Such a lethal weapon. I never heard about it. What else are they hiding? It is good that he is only a small count, or it would have been a disaster for our kingdom. We need to escape immediately. This is bad." Hector looked at the soldier in horror as he looked back. He roared hysterically as he looked at Marsh, "They dare target me, the prince." Norman and Antonio too were scared as they looked at Marsh in horror. Norman thought enviously as he looked at Hector, "It's good that we have Alistair with us. I wish I had such a consultant. I guess he can't leave because of his slave mark." Alistair calmly spoke, "Lord, you need to calm down. We first need to escape first, or we might face the same fate as those mercenaries. I hope everyone remembers that massacre." Immediately alarm bells rang inside everyone as they ran towards their horses. Norman came to his senses as he heard Alistair and ordered, "Yes, we need to leave." Antonio too nodded and answered, "It's good that we didn't commit all the soldiers here at this battle." Norman rang the horn and gave the order to everyone on the field, "We are leaving, run. No use fighting a lost battle." Alistair shook his head as he heard Antonio. He smiled and thought, "I guess he still doesn't understand the situation. You will soon be invaded. I guess I need to accelerate his demise soon." After coming in the range of rifles, Marsh ordered his men, "Shoot them. Leave none of them alive." At Arctos Midlands, Duke Blackwolf read a report from Fen. Fen reported gravely, "My lord, he has started. Any actions required?" Duke Blackwolf sighed as he thought nostalgically, "No, we aren't doing anything. Let them continue, be a mute spectator. I don't want to earn his ire. He has been bottling this up for a long time. We can't anger him or we will face innumerable losses." Hearing him, Fen gave him another report, "Lord, what about the Hell's Playground mercenaries?" Black Wolf furrowed his brows as he knew that he was at North previously. "What about them?" Fen nodded and reported, "Their leader Liam and his men were recently spotted near Arctos at the capital. I think they are up to something suspicious." Black Wolf nodded his head as he heard him, "It seems a lot of players are moving. We won't do anything. As long as they don't attack the civilians, we won't act. Just act as if we didn't know anything." Fen nodded as he understood his intentions. "Okay, my lord." Chapter 219. At Laguna City, Jonas looked at the letter which was written in Dwarven language as he asked his men, "Where did you get this letter?" The officer pointed towards a man as he explained, "I got it from a sailor who sold a bottle along with it. See, this was the bottle. I thought this letter was suspicious as it was written in Dwarven language, so I bought it here." There, he is one who bought the letter and bottle." The sailor smiled as he got quite a good sum by selling the bottle and asked the officer who was his friend, "Did you understand anything from it? Translate it fast." The officer shook his head and spoke, "Nah." Jonas asked the sailor gravely in a serious tone, "Are you sure you got it from the beach?" The sailor nodded and answered as thought, "Yeah, I am pretty sure, it was in eastern seas when I spotted the bottle." "So what is in it? Looking at your expression, it looks like you are in tension. Is there something wrong with it?" After confirming from the sailor, Jonas, without waiting for anyone, he ordered his men and left immediately. "Give him 10 gold coins. He has done great service for us. I will be going for an important meeting with Duke. Cancel all other meetings of mine. You guys don't need to know the contents of that letter." The officer immediately nodded and answered, "Yes, sir." Officer smiled and said to the sailor, "It looks like you hit the jackpot today." Sailor scratched his head as he looked at Jonas, who was leaving in a hurry. "I wonder what was written in it that he decided to gift me 10 gold coins." The officer laughed and spoke, "Who cares, we are partying today. Come, let's go." Duke Fjord had a grave face as he heard Jonas's report. no wonder we never heard about the ships traveling north. It seems that crafty Count had already planned a lot. And this was the reason why they were unperturbed when the eastern port was blocked. Jonas nodded as he spoke. Yes, from my hypothesis, he was already planning about that settlement after he made the ballistas. It looks like the dwarves are over-exaggerating the power of ballistas as they saw the power of ballistas belonging to Count John for the first time. One of the ministers spoke in a serious tone. Point of the matter is, they already have access to seas. It would be more serious if that settlement is already connected to North Frontier Town. No wonder they decided to retreat previously instead of invading when they were blocked at the eastern port. Our domination at the seas depends on the destruction of that settlement. Jonas smiled and remarked as he read the journal, which was dated just a few days back. Yes, it seems they have even targeted the dwarven ships previously as they didn't want to get exposed previously. I think we can use this to our advantage. From what I know, dwarves were frustrated after didn't get to hear anything about their lost ships previously. I have a perfect plan to destroy that settlement. We should inform the dwarves about the previous raid and take advantage of the matter. Duke Fjord nodded as he heard them. Yes, we can use this to our advantage. Tell the dwarf ambassador about this immediately. This habit of recording and leaving it in a bottle is good as well. We will start using this from now on in case we face eradication from our enemies. That weapon has fully changed the status quo and equilibrium of this continent's political and military stability, and hence the need for changes in the military. Everyone agreed and nodded as they heard Fjord's judgment. Fjord continued with a cunning smile. Okay, prepare to attack that settlement. No one can question us if we attack there. We will attack them if the dwarves move. I think Blake and his men are present at that settlement, so it would be dangerous for us if we attack them alone. I guess they are waiting for some time before they announce about that port city. We will go with Jonas's plan, tell the dwarf ambassador about the current situation. At the same time, Sarah spoke in John's mind. Congratulations to host on successfully completing his goal of establishing a city. 1. Aurora City and 2. Winter City, simultaneously. Ding! Level upgrade. 50 million EXP points for establishing Aurora City. Ding! 50 million EXP points for establishing Winter City. Ding! You will now face onslaughts from the Dwarven Kingdom and the Elias Kingdom. Your next goal is to successfully create a kingdom that is being recognized by others. You can check the store more items. Your total points 132 million points. John remarked as he heard the sounds of Sarah while he was ordering his men to attack Erwin's men at the southern castle. Whoa, such a surprise. I guess something happened. John smiled as he looked at the signal from western castles. Time to finish this battle. There was a complete massacre taking place at the southern castle as everyone saw a signal from the western castle. There was no order among John's enemies as everyone was scrambling to save their life and run away from the battlefield. The Templars who came near the southern castle faced the assault of bullets and started falling slowly. There was a look of surprise and anger on the faces of Templars when they faced the guns. They never expected to face such an assault of their enemies without inflicting any damage to their enemies. A lot of soldiers and knights panicked after watching the horrific power of the cannons and guns. One of the knights groaned as he had shrapnel stuck in his abdomen as he ran. Even when fighting against the demons, we never faced such horrific battle power. What are those weapons? Damn it, I hate this pain. Where the hell did they get these weird weapons? One of the Lord agreed as he saw the desolate situation of the battlefield and spoke. Yes, I thought it would be an easier battle. Who knew they were hiding such weapons from everyone's eyes? The situation is very grave. I guess a big civil war will occur if we fight against these monstrous weapons, or the royal family will have to take this lying down. I guess a lot of people are waiting on the sidelines to strike when we are down. Erwin clearly watched how Johnson had died as left a rune in the sky. He was continuously moving as he ordered his men, leave immediately. We are regrouping at the battle camp. Erwin looked back at John's face, who was smiling as if he was a hunter going for a hunt. He saw that John had intended to chase them, so he reissued his orders. No, we are leaving Dolores's borders. That guy is out for blood. They likely won't chase us there as they aren't prepared for invasion. That fucker will pay for his insolence. Now that he has killed Johnson and dared to secede, he should be prepared for the consequences. I hope Defense Minister Plato don't get angry on me. John smiled and ordered his men, tell the men to get ready and prepare their guns. Arlen, you will be in charge of this castle when I am gone. Try sniping the commanders so that there will crumbles more easily. Today, everyone will witness history. Arlen nodded as he prepared his sniper and left to give orders to his men. Erwin too was shocked by watching the powers of the rifles. He was taken back as he looked at the gruesome death of Templars who were being chased by Count John's men. He remarked as he looked at the horrific fate of the crazed Templars, "Damn, what are these things that are claiming the lives of all the soldiers in the battlefield one by one? How much of their battle power have they hidden? We need to escape immediately. Tell everyone to escape in different directions. This way our survival rate would be better." Erwin's subordinate spoke after hearing Erwin. "Yes, sir." At this moment only some Templars were able to escape while John's army was chasing Erwin's army one by one. Erwin frustratingly remarked as he saw the massacre which took place, "Damn it, this will be a very big blow to us no matter whether we win or lose this war. We have already sustained enough losses. We need the magician squads to deal with these weapons." Chapter 220. A ghost spotted the signal which was given by Marsh and men from the western castle. Watching the signal, the ghost immediately reported to John as he was looking out for it for the whole day, "Lord, it seems Amber and his men are chasing Prince Hector and their army. What do we do?" John thought a bit and immediately gave his orders, "We will back off, for now, tell Arlen to support Amber and Marsh from behind. We can't be overconfident while chasing Erwin and his men. They might have laid traps for us if we invade them further. There is also the eastern port from where they can attack us. This battle will be a good enough message for everyone present in the kingdom. Meanwhile, chase these men till the borders and head back." Western Castle. Very soon Amber was chasing Hector and his men while 60% of their army was eradicated. Hector and his men very soon reached the gates of Dolores as they headed inside without a hitch. At this time Amber ordered his men, "Bring in the cannons, we are invading Dolores." The surprised soldier asked Amber cautiously, "Is it okay, my lord?" Amber smiled and answered as he looked at the big walls, "Yes, I especially got orders from the top to invade them if we were attacked today. You don't need to worry." Meanwhile at the castle in Dolores occupied by Prince Hector, Alistair smiled as he decided to raise up the ante against Antonio for the first time as it aligned with the interests of Prince Hector. "My lord, I think we should escape Dolores and head towards Gritos. I have a bad feeling currently after watching their march." Hector furrowed his brows as he asked in an angry manner, "What are you saying?" Alistair smiled and spoke to both Norman and Hector in a grave tone as he watched the cannons that were being lined up. "Amber, look over there, my lord, they are planning to invade Dolores. At Gritos we would be safer. I don't think you would want to lose more while defending this place. I think you know what happened at the mercenary camp when our men decided to resist. We have barely been able to escape with 5,000 men after losing 10,000 men. I don't think both of you would want to lose more men. Additionally, Count John's men are not prepared to invade us deep inside Duke Norman's domain by the looks of their invasion and their lackadaisical attitude." Antonio was immediately angered. He fumed as he heard Alistair and his plan. "What are you saying? Prince Hector and Duke Norman promised to defend Dolores in case of a crisis. We made a solid agreement." Alistair smiled, as he looked at Antonio and answered with a cunning smile, "No, we only agreed to provide you the ballistas. Don't you remember? You insisted that you wanted the ballistas, not the men when we negotiated. You can have them. We are not violating any terms if we escape to Gritos with our men. You see, the lives of 40,000 men is more important to Duke Norman and Prince Hector politically than a small Dolores. Don't you agree, Duke Norman?" Look, they are already preparing to invade us. It seems they are bringing some more weird weapons to the front line. Duke Norman was immediately alerted as he saw the intention of Count John's men who wanted to invade Dolores. He shivered as he remembered about the massacre of mercenaries that eradicated them fully. Amber roared on the sound stone as Duke Norman and Prince Hector heard him, "You guys should be prepared to be invaded since you dared to invade us. Hand over Prince Hector and you might escape this invasion." Before Prince Hector could respond, Alistair spoke immediately, "Prince, don't be angered, they are deliberately trying to anger you so that you stand your ground and retaliate." Duke Norman understood that if he lost more men here then he would face the ire of all the lords who participated in this campaign with him. Duke Norman looked at Amber and his men as he spoke with a resolve, "Yes, we should leave. After ignoring Alistair's warning several times we have already lost more than required. I would not risk the lives of 40,000 men over some promise, not to mention we aren't even violating the terms. We should have heard Alistair when he recommended us to wait before we attack and we might have escaped this invasion. Now look, that scout also came with his report from the southern end. Speak, what did you see there?" Scout thought about the massacre and answered with a sigh, "It was a massacre, my lord. Commander Johnson and most of all of his 30,000 Templars were killed without any hesitation by that barbarian commander, Anak. Lord Irwin too has sustained a lot of injuries. Currently, Lord Irwin and his army are heading for Gredos immediately. Commander Irwin feels that General Anak would most likely invade Dolores and try to kill them off if they don't escape." Prince Hector and Norman were scared after hearing about the massacre of both Irwin and Johnson's army in a single day. They shivered as they already knew about the acts which General Anak did previously. Almost immediately, Norman asked gravely, "How many of them survived and what are their casualties?" The scout nodded and answered, 29,000 Templars and 10,000 men of Lord Irwin's army died in the previous battle. The enemy this time had weird weapons which had incredible power. They have 10 times or more power than their ballistas. Lord Irwin's short sword too suffered damage just by facing 2 attacks of the enemies, while Templar Johnson died in 3 attacks. Commander Irwin feels that General Anak deliberately targets the commanders of the enemies to reduce morale and claim decisive victories. Prince Hector remembered the previous attempt on his life which was made by Marsh as he heard the scout and agreed. He signaled him to continue. The scout nodded and answered, "There is another explosive news. General Anak announced the decision of Count John's secession from Elias' kingdom after being unfairly treated by the royal family and the other aristocrats, especially Prince Hector, Duke Norman, and Duke Fjord. Here is the letter of their statement, my lord." Hector was stunned as he heard the scout. He immediately snatched the letter as he spoke with a stunned face. "What did you say?" "They announced their secession." Hector slapped his forehead as he heard the scout. He thought as he was stunned, "Was this because of me? If he secedes, this means a civil war will erupt. Did I corner them so much that he finally decided to snap? But how the fuck did he get those monstrous weapons? No, it was all his plan from the start. If we knew that he had such weapons then no one would have attacked them in the first place. That guy deliberately baited us for the whole 6 months. I hope I ain't targeted by the ministers for all this mess. Yes, that Buffon Antonio will do." He roared as he read the letter given by the scout. "Fuck." Alistair looked at Prince Hector and his dilemma as he thought, as expected, Count John is seceding. It seems big power play is taking place. It looks like everyone including Prince Hector were manipulated by that count from the start. I guess King Lionheart would be more pissed after hearing the condition of Lord Irwin's army and the fact that they played into Count John's hand. This situation is worse than the time when Lore family possessed those swords. This matter can't be solved politically after that count announced secession. The biggest thorns for us would be those weird weapons." Duke Norman too was stunned as he heard him and murmured, "How did that small count get such guts? Was he always planning to secede from the start?" He continued, "No, now is not the time to ponder." Suddenly everyone heard the sound of an explosion as Amber decided to fire the cannons at the walls. Alastair smiled as he heard the explosion and again gave his proposals. Even Commander Irwin is leaving for Greedos and the borders. I call this as a strategic retreat, my lord. We don't have much time. We can simply leave the ballistæ in their professional care. What do you say, Duke Norman? I can see that they are out for blood, and I don't think we would want to erase their thirst for blood by our bodies. Duke Norman immediately ordered his men without even consulting Prince Hector. Yes, we are leaving immediately. We have already ignored enough warnings by Alastair. I don't want to die because of that Count's sudden anger for blockading the eastern port. Mary, we are leaving Dolores immediately. Army, prepare for our departure. Prince Hector too nodded after looking at the facts and the current condition of their army. Antonio had a pale face as heard Duke Norman and Prince Hector's decision. In anger, he almost immediately pounced on Alastair. He thought as he pounced in anger, this is all because of this slave. He did this maneuvering against me for his grudge and manipulated them. Alastair smiled as he sidestepped and gave a slap to him sideway. Antonio immediately fell down. Alastair slowly approached him and murmured into his ears with a cunning smile, "You see, this is what happens to guys who cross me. I would like to see how you flail like a fish without water. You are dead." He smiled and continued, "Well, I will give you another advice. If you are able to defend this town, then you might be able to escape the whole ordeal, or else you will face the music whether you are in Elias or in Skye." It seemed Alastair already recognized Skye as regional power after the previous power play by Count John. With a stunned face, Antonio saw the departing figure of Alastair, who was leaving behind Prince Hector and Norman. Prince Hector and Norman didn't even pay attention to Antonio when Alastair assaulted him. Without giving any heed to Antonio, they gave orders to their men as they left for Greedos with cold faces. It was at this time when Antonio remembered the words of his father, "You are naive, you don't understand politics." He roared hoarsely as he continuously felt humiliated, "Damn, what do I do? I can't fight such monstrous weapons. No, I can't die here. That guy certainly wants me to die here." Alastair smiled and left as he watched the eyes of Antonio, which was full of horror.